Hi. Silin, tiram.
Okay, I think we are now all ready, so we will start now. Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Almighty and loving Father, the source of life and strength, we thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. The food that we eat, water that we drink, fresh air that we breathe, and good health. We are truly grateful for them. Thank you for allowing us today to meet and share our knowledge and time with one another in this eTalk. May you impart your supreme wisdom to our speaker so that she would be able to effectively deliver her God-given talent to all of us. May she be blessed as she continues to bring her expertise to people who needs her. Bless the participants as well so that we would be able to glean the vital information from this activity. May you bestow your blessings after this eTalk in the spirit of your love, generosity. In this activity, enlightens our hearts and minds. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. So, to formally open this activity, I would like to call on Dr. Jarovic Rapols, Head of the Guidance and Testing Division, for his welcome address. Thank you so much, sir. Let me give you a brief overview of the topic. May I ask this question? What is digital wellness? It is a way of life while using technology that promotes optimal health and well-being in which body, mind, and spirit are integrated by the individual to live more fully within the human, natural, and digital communities. Digital daily practices, such as a photo online every day for a year, are an increasing familiar internet phenomenon. These practices involve conducting a task or activity on a daily basis by sharing it online with a community who are doing the same. Digital daily practices are innovative social networking movements connecting interaction online with changes in a real world behavior. So, before we begin and formally introduce our speaker for today, we must observe first the following rules. First, mute your device microphone. Second, during the presentation, Please do not interrupt the speaker. Third, you may type in your questions in the question and answer box. Your questions will be entertained after the talk. At this juncture, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our resource speaker for today. She finished her bachelor's degree in psychology at Silliman University in 2005. She then proceeded to take master's in psychology, major in counseling psychology in 2007. However, she decided to shift to master's in education, major in guidance and counseling after 1 year because of the Republic Act 9258 mandate, which was a bill professionalizing guidance and counseling. As a young practitioner in the field, she wanted to get that license. She had her first experience as a school counselor at Foundation University, Dumaguete City in 2006. She stayed with Foundation University for 2 years and 6 months. She joined the Silliman University Guidance and Testing Division team in 2010 as a part-time guidance counselor while working on her master's degree. She finally graduated in 2014, reviewed for the board exam in May 2015, and passed it on August 2015 by God's grace. She believes that whatever worth having is worth waiting. And so, with all humility, she takes pride in being a practicing licensed guidance counselor and values and loves being in the helping profession. At the moment, she is one of the college guidance counselors and is handling the College of Education, College of Mass Communication, and College of Performing and Visual Arts. She is happily married to Mr. A. P. Cadelina and a mother of 2 beautiful children, Q and Gab Gab, and a certified plantita. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Assistant Professor Rea A. Albon Cadelina.
Good afternoon to all our viewers. I am assigned to talk about global digital wellness and self-care practices for this week's eTalk. So again, you can call me Rea, and I am currently assigned at the College of Performing and Visual Arts, College of Mass Communication, and the College of Education. So let us go back to the topic that I will be sharing with you this afternoon. I have chosen to focus more on the basic self-care practices, believing that this is what we need the most. We tend to focus on the more complicated ones, which in fact, it's the more basic ones that help us the most and give us that sense of completeness. Okay, so let's go to the first slide. Here you can see two pictures, very opposing pictures. The first one is a person holding his or her phone, and the other picture is a woman enjoying the beauty of nature. So I have a question for everyone. How do you strike a balance between technology and your physical and psychosocial well-being? Now, I know we are all, this is actually a very timely topic. We are already a year into the pandemic, and ever since I have been guilty that I have spent more time on my gadget, in my phone, on my laptop, more compared to before the pandemic. And this is a question that is really something that we need to ponder on. How do you strike a balance between technology and your physical and psychosocial well-being? Okay. First, digital health and wellness refers to physical and psychosocial well-being in a technological world. So these are the two domains. We have the physical health domain and the psychosocial domain. For the physical health domain, there are actually injuries that can be prevented or avoided. And this includes repetitive stress injuries, eye strain, and carpal tunnel syndrome. The latter two, actually, we are very familiar with this, especially with the eye strain. Even the young children are already suffering from this. So the first one, which is repetitive stress injuries, refers to physical injuries that is acquired or is because of stress due to the frequent use of technology or gadgets. I believe this can be prevented. Okay. For the psychosocial domain, on the other hand, the nature of highly mobile and highly connected technology will continue to place pressure on the nature of social connectedness, relationships, both physical and virtual. This is very true. I agree with this statement. Because of the time that we spend on technology in using our gadgets, we forget to spend quality time with our loved ones. Hence resulting to broken relationships and other like. According to Young in 2009, there is increasing concern that some people are becoming internet addicted, namely exhibiting compulsive behavior that interferes with normal living and causes high levels of stress on family, friends, and one work's environment. Furthermore, Young says in 2009 that achieving balance will likely become an increasingly relevant characteristic of healthy citizens. So one key word that you will hear all throughout my talk this afternoon is the word balance. Okay, so balance between the digital world, how much do you use, how frequent do you use your gadgets, and of course, the second domain, your psychosocial well-being, which includes your mental, your emotional well-being. So that is therefore what we call the digital wellness. Okay. Okay, so we have here two questions or thoughts to ponder. The first one is, what role does technology play in your life? And the second one is, do you feel like you are in control of technology, or is technology in control of you? On a personal note, if I am asked these questions, I could easily answer question number one. Okay, but for number two, I would really think it over if I am in control, if I am still in control of technology or my frequent use of gadgets, or is it the other way around? Is technology in control of you? Because sometimes we are given no choice. We need to use technology with regards to our work, education, etc., etc. Okay, so before I proceed into the next slide, I would like us to pause and watch this video.
I think technology in general has been worked into everyone's day-to-day life.
It is the first thing I do when I wake up and when I go to bed.
It's easy to just pick up your phone, turn it on.
Call a ride and just go wherever you want.
New places to eat, new places to explore. It's great to stay in touch.
I met my girlfriend on online dating apps, so I'd say that's a positive right there.
Do you feel like you're in control of technology, or is technology in control of you?
Oof.
Oh, it's definitely more control of me.
My biggest issue with it is knowing when to stop.
5 and 10 minutes here and there, I feel like takes up a bunch of my day.
I feel like it's in control of me, like if my phone's dead for like half the day or something and I'm going crazy.
I think my math grade is the way it is because of my phone.
Now I notice my eyes are like a little, like I blink a little bit more, they get tired.
He should just throw his phone away.
Usually I feel in control of technology. Usually
I can catch myself and be like, you need to chill out.
I think you have to set a limit and say that you control the phone, it doesn't control you.
I'd say most people hate on technology, but if you're using it for good things, I think it's really helpful.
Well, we think it's important that they do have access to it and learn it.
Technology is not so much it's a necessary evil, it's a necessary good that could go either way. You know, the jury's out. It's up to us as to what we do with the technology.
Okay, so before I proceed to the self-care practices, I would like to share first with you some very interesting facts that I have read on my research. This is all about social media. Now, social media has been described as more addictive than cigarettes or alcohol. So what does it do to your mood and body image? So here is what research tells us. Research has found a direct link between social media use and mood disorders like anxiety and depression, but acknowledges that the relationship is complex and bidirectional. Increasing amounts of Facebook use among first-year college students have been associated with higher levels of loneliness. In a survey of 1,500 young adults on the impact of social media on issues such as anxiety, depression, self-identity, and body image, YouTube has been found to have the most positive impact, while Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and Twitter all demonstrated negative effects on young people's mental health. Next, okay. So what does social media do to our body image or to your body image? This is again based on research. First, 7 in 10 college women and more than 5 in 10 college men who post photos on social media admit to editing them first. Nearly half who edit pictures of themselves enhance their looks by removing blemishes or adding color to look less pale. Approximately 1 in 8 admit to editing because they are not happy with how they look in general, while about 6% edit to make themselves look thinner. So who among you are guilty of this? Raise your hand. Okay? Next, those who more frequently edit photos of themselves before posting report greater degrees of body dissatisfaction, eating concerns, and dieting behaviors. Further, in 2016, a study of 50 Fitspiration websites revealed messaging that was often indistinguishable from pro-anorexia or thinspiration sites. The strong language both types of sites used was shown to induce guilt about weight or the body and promote dieting, restraint, and the stigmatization of all but a narrow range of body types. As the New York Times noted earlier this year, while we know that everybody else can possibly be as successful, rich, attractive, relaxed, intellectual, and joyous as they appear to be on Facebook, our friends' posts tell another story. It's hard to resist the pool of accounts that seem so believable, but please don't let social media make you miserable. Who can relate to this? Okay, so I know, especially those who are the young ones who are listening right now, are probably thinking, whether or not these are all true. But again, before I started, I said that these are all based on facts, research based. Okay, so if you can relate to this, then perhaps it is high time to do self-reflection, check and track and trace if there are some things that you need to minimize or limit yourselves into using the social media. Okay, so these are the references that I used from all of those facts that I just presented, and those study was actually done at the University of Washington. Okay, so we have one more very interesting fact on what social media does to your mood and body image, still based on research. So, a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association said that teens and young adults who frequently use digital media were more than twice as likely to develop symptoms of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD. I know for a fact that this is not only true in Western countries. Uh, in fact, we have strong cases already um, in the Philippines, even here in Dumaguete, with children showing very strong symptoms of ADHD due to the frequent exposure of gadgets or the digital media. So this is where I got it from. And before I proceed into our next slide, I would like us again to pause and watch this video. This is based on an interview from young children and their thoughts on the digital world that we live in.
My favorite thing to do on my cell phone is either watch YouTube or play games.
Normally, I either play Minecraft, or if like my tablet's out of battery, then I watch YouTube on that.
Sometimes I play on my parents' cell phone, mostly my mom's.
My favorite thing to do on the computer is play games with my friends.
Limit your time so you're not on it and actually be helpful to others around you.
I can just go outside and play sometimes.
My mom will tell me that to put my tablet down to read or help her in the kitchen.
You can be on technology, but you just have to be aware of how much time you're on it.
Social media really limits their face-to-face interaction with each other, and so that can really limit their ability to learn their social skills and develop really healthy ways to talk with one another. When you have face-to-face interaction and being able to look at someone, being able to get that connectedness, you really need to be meeting with people face-to-face to get that.
One of the things our staff tries to do is follow as many of our players on social media. That way we know what's being put out there as well and keep them safe.
The internet can be a dangerous place. It can provide a host of pitfalls for students, kids to get into. That can range anywhere from unwanted, inappropriate content to sexting, texting, cyberbullying. There's a myriad of pitfalls.
As a parent myself, I have 2 small children at home, and they are growing up in a world that I did not grow up in. It's a completely different world for them. And I need to learn as much as I can learn in order to help them be the best person that they can be.
Think before you hit send. If it's something you don't want mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or your friends to see or know about, don't put it out there for somebody else to take back to them later.
With social media, they're able to connect with like-minded people, different support groups, able to connect with students who have the same interests, and so that can be really helpful and encouraging for students to be able to meet new people that way.
If you use it the right way, it's a good thing, and if you use it the incorrect way, you can get yourself in trouble. So that's part of growing as a kid and teaching them what that looks like. It's not going away. It's here to stay, so we might as well learn how to use it to our advantage.
So that means being involved in their digital lives and teaching them how to use electronics, social media in a useful, creative way as opposed to just a toy. It will take our schools, our families, and our community to help build the skills and attitudes our students need to mature in our digital world and to live a balanced, digitally fit life.
Okay, so we are already at the last part of my talk, which is on the self-care practices. But before I share the simple strategies and the basic ones with you, I have here some thoughts to ponder. These are actually my favorite sayings or quotes. So we have here a quote from somebody unknown. An empty lantern provides no light. Self-care is the fuel that allows your light to shine brightly. And another one from Eleanor Brown. According to her, self-care is very important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. I agree with this. This is very true. Self-care should always be a priority. It is not being selfish. In fact, it is a necessity for you to be able to take care of others as well. In the age of the omnipresent internet and the addictive social media, we have been spending more time on screen that affects our health and well-being. Now, as I've shared with you, as I've said at the beginning of my talk, one word or the most common word that you would hear from my talk all throughout would be the word balance. And how do we achieve that balance and practice self-care in this digital world? So in my readings, the first or the one of the most basic or simple strategy that we can do is to practice digital detoxing. So this is a way of balancing the well-being and use of technology. Digital detoxing refers to restricting the use of digital devices, for example, limiting the use of social media and engaging in real-life experiences, or taking a break from digital devices and enjoying leisure. Okay, so another term that I found very interesting in my readings is the term forest bathing. So this is actually still under digital detoxing. One way for you to digitally detox is to engage or immerse yourself in natural settings, and that is forest bathing. Okay, forest bathing and forest therapy or Shinrin Yoku broadly means taking in all of one's senses, the forest atmosphere. Not simply a walk in the woods, it is the conscious and contemplative practice of being immersed in the sights, sounds, and smells of the forest. Okay, so Shinrin-yoku or forest bathing has ancient roots in Japan and Asia. The term forest bathing was coined in Japan, where nature therapy has ancient roots. Okay, so this is actually the first time that I have encountered forest bathing, the term forest bathing. So this is something very interesting and new to me as well. Okay, so some thoughts to ponder again on digital detoxing. So, as the saying goes, it is easier said than done. So, it's the same with digital detoxing as well. So, digital detox is actually an act of courage, because upon waking up, it is already our gadgets that we hold on to, and before going to sleep, we cannot really go to sleep without checking the social media or our Facebook accounts or Twitter or Instagram. So digital detoxing is an act of courage, and I salute or admire those who would really practice this simple strategy. Okay, of course, more green, less screen. So this is very ideal, but I don't know if we can actually do this in reality. And of course, it is very challenging for all of us to go offline even for just a day or even for an hour, right? So dili pwede, dapat every hour, every minute online. If dili online, matarantar, no? Kay basi na ay dili ma-receive na communication and so on and so forth. So this is all very challenging, and especially to unplug. Okay, literally unplugged from the digital world. I do not know if kaya na ninyo, kaya ba na nako. So this is very very challenging, and of course, to disconnect to reconnect. That's what you always hear from people, but it's very challenging for me as well. It is really very challenging. Okay, so the second very basic or simple strategy on self-care practices would be, of course, mindfulness. I think, I believe that this has been actually presented comprehensively by one of the guidance counselors 2 weeks ago. And I will just go into this very quickly since this has been talked about already. So mindfulness is actually the best approach we have for understanding the algorithms of our mind, and two strategies or two techniques, okay, that comes up every time you search on mindfulness is meditation and yoga. Okay, and it actually helps a lot. It's very useful, but really the more interesting question for this topic on global digital wellness would be, how can you be more mindful with social media? Okay, so how can you be more mindful with social media? Okay, so before you post, know your intentions. Think before you click, as they say. Are you looking for appreciation, inclusion, approval, or reassurance? Or maybe something else? If you're looking to be seen or validated, ask yourself, is there something more constructive I could do to meet that need? Or if you want to be if you want your feelings to be validated, uh, is posting on social media helpful, or perhaps you need to talk to somebody in person? Okay, next, limit the time you spend on social media each day. Against balance is the key word. We cannot really eradicate or completely stop a person from spending time on social media. Rather, limit the time. And here's another fact, interesting fact. People who spend more than 2 hours per day on social media have significantly lower self-esteem than those who don't. And this is where I got it from. Okay. Now, furthermore, Always be curious about the stories your mind makes up as you scroll. When something comes up, ask yourself if it's helpful for you to believe that story. Is it helpful for you to think that you're not good enough? Is it helpful for you to judge that other person's choices or life, or to compare your life to others, right? Because when we lie down and hold on to our phones before going to sleep, and we just scroll up and down from our accounts or our social media accounts, and we see our friends' stories flash before us, and what comes to our mind? Okay, sometimes human as we are, we cannot help but judge other people's lives. Then you ask yourself, do you have a right, or is it helpful for you to judge that other person's choices or life, and especially compare your life to others or your life to theirs? Okay, so these are simple tips on how to be more mindful with using social media. Okay, so another way of practicing self-care, not just within your family, but also to our young students out there who are listening right now, is to ask yourself this question: how can you empower students or yourself to be intentional about screen time? So I have mentioned earlier that you have to think before you click, or know your intentions before posting something online or on social media. According to Tracy Beckett in February 2021, these three simple strategies encourage digital wellness. The first step is to start a discussion. Start a discussion with your students. Start a discussion with your children at home. Do your students know the consequences of spending a lot of time online? Too much internet use can result in, first, diminished mental health, second, lower grades, and third, damaged friendships. Okay, I personally believe that everything starts at home. I always tell this or say this to my students. We always go back at home. Okay, so parents out there, always encourage or empower your children. Start a conversation or a discussion with them. Okay, and always make them aware of the consequences of spending a lot of time online before it's too late. So your children or your students may not be aware of how blue light disrupts their sleep patterns, and they may not understand how to practice self-reflection to check in on their own digital health and wellness. And that is what I said, education or awareness is always the key. Okay, check in on your children or in your students. You can ask them, do I feel happy when I'm online? Or try to notice and track when they feel anxious about what they are missing online. Sometimes we observe, especially at home, if children can't watch YouTube or watch the shows that they want, they would have tantrums, right? So this is something very negative, and that they should be aware of this, and keep track of of their feelings. And then, of course, track it. Students may want to consider their physical health and track if they are getting enough activity of, or if they have negative behaviors such as zombie eating in front of the screen and not noticing when they are full. Okay, so what is zombie eating? Zombie eating is eating while staring at screens or eating mindlessly. it is actually becoming a common practice in today's society. So further, distracted eating could be wrecking your diet. Over time, eating while watching television, playing video games, or even working at your computer may cause you to eat more and contribute to weight gain. So sometimes we are not aware that that we are actually already doing zombie eating, right? As the term coins, it's eating mindlessly. So this time that we are already aware, we should be more mindful already of how we eat, what we eat, and when. Okay, do we eat in front of the screen or on the table without gadgets? Okay, so in my readings, zombie eaters ate 149 more calories during the day compared to people who ate media free. They also had higher intakes of protein, carbohydrate, fat, and saturated fats. The increase in calorie intake was likely due to increased portion sizes rather than poorer food choices, according to the researchers. So this is actually taken from a study or a research from MSU or Michigan State University, which I will be sharing with you very shortly or very briefly lang, okay, in a while after this slide. So this is actually a fact, okay? I did not make that up. It's based on a research. And this is the reference where I got it from. It was Beth Fontenot who wrote that article last August 15 in 2019. So these are some pictures, okay, of zombie eating. People or persons who are zombie eating. This is the research that I mentioned a while ago. So researchers at Michigan State University followed 55 adults, average age 26. Participants, mostly women, kept food diaries for 3 days. The diaries not only included what they ate, but when they ate and whether or not they were spending time on a computer or smartphone while eating. People in the study were using some form of media as they ate meals about 18% of the time. About 25% of that occurred during breakfast, lunch, and dinner hours. 5% of media time happened while eating snacks. Okay, the study adds another piece to the obesity puzzle. Although much of the previous research on this topic has taken place in laboratory settings, researcher Robin Tucker of MSU explained this study took place in real-life setting, demonstrating what people actually do while eating. So what was again the conclusion of this study? So again, the zombie eaters ate 149 more calories during the day compared to people who ate media-free. They also had higher intakes of protein, carbohydrate, fat, and saturated fat. The increase in calorie intake was likely due to increased portion sizes rather than poorer food choices, according to the researcher. So again, let us practice mindful eating. Okay, especially when we are holding our gadgets or when we are facing the screen. Okay, so mealtime is a good time to unplug, correct? So turn off your phone, turn off the television, and enjoy the people with whom you are sharing a meal. If you're eating alone, listen to some calming music and enjoy your meal without distractions. Especially for the young children, this is a very good training at home. Okay, unplug is the term every meal time. Okay, so this is already tip 2 according to Tracy Beckett on how to empower students to be intentional about screen time. Tip 2 is to think positively. First, how can you empower students to think positively? Challenge students to identify the positive aspects of both their online and offline time. So again, remember, there should be online and offline time, a balance of the two. Dili pwede nga offline time ratanan because of course, in this time of the pandemic, we cannot do away with the gadgets or the digital world. We are required, or we need to engage ourselves sometimes with the technology. And of course, we have a lot of other activities that you can actually introduce your children or your students to, and help them explore what ways technology enriches and enhances their lives. This is something positive that technology has something to offer in our lives. And encourage students to explore those offline activities and goals that will help them succeed, whether it's studying for a test, getting at least 8 hours of sleep, or actually waking up on time to shower before school. So even in this time that we have online distance learning, I know that some students just wake up 5 or 10 minutes before their class because they don't feel the pressure anymore, no? Na malate sila to go to class because they would just have to sit there in front of their laptops or sa screen, and voila, right? Ready na ang tanan. So that's really how it is nowadays, right? So the key is to focus on positive ways, okay, to accomplish offline goals and find time to connect online as well. So balance. So helping students find positive ways in achieving balance can support their self-awareness and reflection. Tip number 3 is to build healthy habits. Healthy digital habits are built over time. So it's not built overnight. So we really need to instill in our children and our students that they need to practice this every day so that it will become a habit, and not just any habit, but a healthy digital habit at that over time. Okay, so improve concentration and focus. These are just a few tips on how to improve their concentration and focus. So you can put their phones into silent mode when they are working, or do not disturb mode during study time, or they can even set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes for a tech break, right? So there's always that tech break. If you feel that they are mentally exhausted already, then you need to give them a break, 5 to 10 minutes. And of course, challenge them to study for 30 to 40 minutes before the next tech break. Okay, this is still under building healthy habits. So encourage better sleep. Students can change the blue light settings on their phone to night mode in the evening, as well as take devices out of their room an hour prior to bedtime and instead focus on reading or playing music. Okay, so this is a very good suggestion. However, if we can do away with gadgets at night, that is much better. Okay, on a personal note, we have a 6-year-old daughter. So upon going home, um, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, that's no more gadgets until bedtime. That's how we do it at home. Okay. Okay, in continuation, the next one is to promote well-being. Students can use mindful breathing when they feel stressed after being on a device. If they have to be online for a long time, they may want to take 10-minute device-free breaks for every 90 minutes of work. Healthy breaks include taking a nap, exercising, daydreaming, or even talking to someone over the phone rather than texting. So tech break again, right? So 90 minutes of work, that's quite long, more than 1 hour. So of course, after that, they need to have a break to promote well-being. And here are again some thoughts to ponder. So why do we need all of those simple or basic, why do we need to practice those simple and basic self-care practices that was presented? Why? Because the most powerful relationship you will ever have is the relationship with yourself. And that is from Diane von Furstenberg. I totally agree with this saying, with this quote. As I said, being self-compassionate and taking care of yourself, putting that as a priority is never selfless. It's a priority. It's a necessity for you to be able to take care of others. And of course, you are the hero of your own life, no one else. Before I end my talk, I would like to share this deep meaning pictures that show the harsh reality of today's world. This went viral in Facebook just this week or last week. And I find this very interesting and really depicts the reality of the world that we live in today, the digital world that we live in today. Okay, so we have here two pictures, right? So a couple hugging, but really holding their gadgets as well. So what does that imply? Okay, you answer the question. And then the second photo, you have there a dog tied to a pole. And of course, you have there a man sitting down, playing or using his or her smartphone while charging. So instead of holding the leash of the dog and walking and spending time with the dog, he chose to spend time with his gadgets. That's sad. And here's two more photos. Okay, so free book. You have there an open door, but no one chooses to go inside. But you have there the free Wi-Fi, and everybody just goes there and destroys the door even, right? So this is very true in the world that we live in today. Okay, and then the second photo in this slide really hurts. Okay, as me as a mom with a 1-year-old baby, because I am sometimes guilty of this, and we really have to do away with this, right? So instead of playing with the child, sitting down and playing with the child, instead we give them our gadgets, especially if they're crying and we are doing something, busy with something else. Okay, that's sad. And then we have two more photos here. The first photo, you have their gadgets, right? So you have uh, uh, phones, you have the headphone, and then them carrying the book to a grave. Okay, so what does that imply? I do not want that to happen. I grew up loving books, reading books, and I want to continue that legacy with my children. So this photo is a no-no for me, really a no-no for me. And the last photo on this slide, of course, it's uh, you have there a person pulling his or her time, but then on the other side you have there the different social media um, Of course, no, nagport sila gatag of war. Ningon ang Facebook, ang Instagram, ang Snapchat, you spend time with me. And the other person is helpless. Murag mo daog jud ning tulo ka buok nga gapul sa other side, right? Okay, so those are the sad reality of today's world, the digital world, and that's just mura siya gi-simplify on or gi-depict on those photos so as to help us really ponder or think really well, no, if when are we going to strive for that balance, especially in achieving digital wellness in this digital world. So for my last slide, I am always fond of the word homeostasis. I find this very applicable in almost everything. It means balance of all things. And this is my parting words or parting lines before I end my talk. Find a balance with technology that feels right for you. As technology becomes more and more integral in everything we do, it can sometimes distract us from the things that matter most to us. Technology should improve life, not distract or destroy life. Life, not the technology, stays in front and center. Okay, so you have here a little girl and you have the gadgets at her back. And of course, in front should always be the family, outdoors, peers. Okay, that's the life right there. The gadgets, yes, they are part of the world that we live in and they are very important. They are an integral part in everything that we do, but they should not stay in front. They should stay right there at the back, and your life should be there at the center and in front. Okay, so thank you everyone for listening. I hope that you have learned something from my talk this afternoon, and I am now ready for questions.
Okay, so let's proceed now to the open forum. One question, ma'am, is, does the use of social media create mood disorders like anxiety and depression?
Yes. Thank you, Ma'am Lazalita, for that very good question. It was in fact presented in one of the slides, and it was one of the things that was a research based. Yes, it is actually a factor na siya effect on individuals' mood disorders, especially with regards to anxiety. So it actually is proven. There is a research on that. That was what I presented a while ago. However, the study or the research that I shared was done in Michigan or in the US. So I still have to check if in the country, in the Philippines, I'm sure there are studies, but as to my research, wala ko'y nakitaan pa so far. But I know there are. Probably wala pa na-publish. Or if naaman gani, wala ko kakita, right? But as to answer that question, yes, there is really an effect. The digital world, social media, the gadgets, technology would really have an effect on one's mood, a person's mood.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Here is another question from Sir Godswill. According to research, there is no difference between anxiety and excitement. This has been linked to overstimulation. The generation at this day and age tend to take in all information and sometimes unable to distinguish what's useful information and what's not. What is your opinion regarding this matter of overstimulation? Also, this has been coined as FOMO, or the fear of missing out. the need to be informed 24/7?
Yes, thank you, Gads, for that
Very long
question.
question.
Yes. Actually, that was also presented in one of the slides, especially the part where it was said that the fear of missing out. That's why, especially our young people, young individuals, they always want to belong or to know what's the latest. So they need to be online all the time, right? So that is where we come in. That is where we try to strive balance between the digital world that we currently live in, and of course, do not forget that as well we have activities available offline. Okay, so that is digital wellness. So in my own opinion, my own personal thought on this is in one of the videos that was presented, I totally agree with that the young people right now, they are actually growing up in a world that me, one of that is me, I did not grow up in. Alright, so nagdako man ko nga walay cellphone. I was already in high school or in college nga naanay phone niya 5110, 6110, right? So it was not even smartphone then. But right now, our young individuals, they have the luxury of technology and it's just within their reach. That is where we come in. Education and awareness is the key. It's okay to miss out on some things. It's okay not to be online all the time. So this is where parents, the role of the parents would come in. And I would always say this, we go back at home because everything starts at home. So education and awareness. Thank you, Gads, for the question. I hope I answered that, Gads.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Here's another question from Sir Miko. It says, the nature of my work is literally focused on technology. All of my work requires digital devices. Even my small business is under the technology industry. I thank you, SU, for giving us some screen break. But going back to my house and business, I always look and focus on digital devices or technology. Even if we went to some family outings, I tend to look at the phone, laptop from time to time to monitor the run of my business. My question is, what are other ways of detoxifying myself digitally wherein I rely on technology almost every hour?
Thank you, Mick.
Question.
Miko is just here. Mauna ang tato kong i-answer, Mick, sa imuha nga question, but you already answered it for me. Digital detoxing. But thank you for that. I think what you really are asking is a more specific way or approach as to how to digitally detox yourself. I understand and I have also seen in Facebook or in social media the life that you live sa office. You are the one who, ikaw may magdalagan-dalagan, no? You are the person that everybody runs to if na ay mga need i-troubleshoot with regards to technology. And at home, yes, your business as well. So I would ask you, Sir Mick, what are your other interests aside from technology? Because one approach that was mentioned a while ago, aside still under digital detoxing, is forest bathing. So it's one way of, it's an approach wherein you immerse yourself.
Forest bathing.
Yes, you immerse yourself in the nature or within the nature, not just simply a walk in the park, literally a walk in the park, but really immersing yourself. Unplug all devices, offline, go offline. Ang utong niyo ko ganina ako adjong gi-emphasize nga it is really very challenging. Challenging jud kaayo siya, especially that we are required to do this kay this is your bread and butter, this is your livelihood. So kinahanglan jud ta online all the time. But you try building healthy habits. It's also there. That was part of the katong ways, the self-care practices is to build healthy habits over time. Dili siya madali. It will not happen overnight. So dugay jud siya. It's going to take time, eventually, if you instill that and practice that in your home, so na nato sa balay, balik siya sa balay. So if you start that, your baby will see that, your baby boy soon will see that in your family as well, then it will become a habit, and wherever you go, madala siya. But it's easier said than done. That's why it was said na digital detox is an act of courage. Okay, and I believe that. So, imo ka na ng challenge, make o unsaon siya, but really those are the things that's presented. The challenge really here is actually doing something about it. Kay tawo raman ta, all the temptations are there. So, discipline. O na siya, discipline. Very basic.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. One more last question, ma'am. How digital wellness can help you succeed in online college?
Wow, very, very helpful ang technology, especially that we are in ODL at the moment, or on online distance learning. If you just know when, how, okay, when and how to use it wisely, most especially, then you have everything on your hands, within your reach. Usa ka click ra ma-open, and I think this is very one very concrete example that I can give you is the honors students that we have this school year. If you have noticed the number of honor students right now, I think it has doubled from last year, right? It was just 800 plus last school year, and now it's 1,800 or 700 plus. So what does that imply? So meaning with technology, right, with ODL, students really have all the resources. It's just there available within their reach. It's just a matter really of being resourceful and using it at the right way. Kana ra jud kay at the video po ganina, it was also stated that the internet is actually a very dangerous place to be in if you do not know how to navigate, and if wala po'y guidance as well sa guardian and sa parents, then it's very dangerous.
Okay, ma'am, one more last question.
Yes,
Last na jud ni ma'am.
Go, ma'am.
What's your take on having exercise in front of a technology, like checking on your YouTube at home to release stress? This question comes from Ma'am Sarah Angela.
Yes, thank you, Ma'am Sarah. Yes, I agree. Okay, kay na wala jud na siya problema if you have their Zumba and you want to follow, di ba, mag-search ta sa YouTube. I do that as well, especially in this time of pandemic that we cannot really go out in public places and be in a crowd. So, daghang restrictions, limitations. It's just a matter of being resourceful. Okay, kay na you have your big screen. Sa sala, you have your mat. And you exercise. You just follow what you see on YouTube. We do that, and that's okay. Okay na jud na siya kaayo.
Okay, so I think there are no more questions. So thank you very much, ma'am, for devoting your time and expertise. It is indeed our topic is very informative and insightful for everybody. So it is an honor to have you today, Assistant Professor Cadelina. Okay, so we'll proceed now into the presentation of certificate to our speaker. I would like to read the citation. Silliman University Library System Certificate of Recognition is presented to Rea A. Cadelina in grateful recognition and sincere appreciation as speaker during the library eTalk with the topic Global Digital Wellness, Self-Care Practices, held at My Soul Virtual Library, Silliman University on April 21, 2021. Signed, Dr. Earl Jude Cleope, Paul L. Cleope, OIC, University Librarian, Vice President for Academic Affairs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am. So we'll proceed to the closing remarks. So first of all, I would like to thank the collaboration of the Guidance and Testing Division of the Silliman University and the Silliman University Library System for having this eTalk. A special thanks to Assistant Professor Rea A. Cadelina for sharing her time and expertise to us. Thank you also to the participants and to my colleagues behind the scene. I hope we have learned something from this eTalk. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe. God bless.